Did you know that you do not have to cut out carbohydrates to bring your blood sugar down fast? In fact, one of the fastest ways to steady your blood sugar is not starving yourself or eliminating every carb you enjoy. It is adding the right foods in the right way so your body can handle sugar the way it was designed to. And I have seen how powerful that can be. People can start seeing better readings in days when they stop fighting food the wrong way and start using it strategically. So in this video, I am going to show you 10 of the best foods to eat for lower blood sugar fast, and more importantly, why they work. Because each one of these foods helps your body do one of three things. It slows sugar from hitting your bloodstream too quickly, it lowers the inflammation that keeps your cells resistant to insulin, or it helps your cells respond to insulin better so glucose can get out of your blood and into the cell where it belongs. And that is the real goal, not just lower numbers for one afternoon, but better numbers that actually hold. Before I get into the first one, do me a quick favor. If you want more videos like this from Wellness Daily, hit subscribe, give this video a like, and leave me a comment telling me what your fasting blood sugar was this week. I read those comments, and they help shape what I cover next. Now let's get into it. Here is what almost nobody explains clearly. High blood sugar is usually not just a sugar problem. It is an insulin problem first. Insulin is the hormone that opens the door of the cell so glucose can leave the bloodstream and get used for energy. But after years of high sugar, stress, poor sleep, processed food, and constant insulin spikes, the cells stop responding the way they should. Insulin keeps knocking, but the cell barely opens. That is insulin resistance. So your pancreas makes more insulin, your blood sugar still stays high, and eventually you are told your body needs even more help pushing sugar into a system that is already overwhelmed. I am your doctor, and every one of these 10 foods helps break that cycle. You do not need to start all 10 tomorrow. Just start stacking them into your meals over the next couple of weeks and let your body do what it has been trying to do all along. The first food is apple cider vinegar. If you have a glucose meter at home, this is one of the fastest foods on this list to show a visible difference after a meal. The reason is acetic acid. That acid slows how quickly your stomach empties food into the small intestine, which means the carbohydrates from your meal hit your bloodstream more gradually instead of all at once. And on top of that, it helps your muscles pull more glucose out of the blood and use it. That means a lower spike after the meal and less insulin needed to handle it. The way to use it is simple. Take 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a full glass of water about 10 to 15 minutes before a meal that contains carbohydrates. Always dilute it. Never drink it straight because it can irritate your throat and wear down tooth enamel. And if you are already taking medication for blood sugar, be careful with this one and make sure your doctor is watching your numbers because it can work faster than people expect. Number 2 is chia seeds. These tiny seeds are one of the most underrated blood sugar tools in any kitchen. If you have ever seen chia turn into a gel in liquid, then you have already seen how it works inside the body. When chia hits water, it forms a thick, fiber-rich gel that slows down digestion and slows the absorption of sugar from the meal. That means your blood sugar rises more slowly, your insulin does not have to surge as hard, and you are much less likely to get that spike and crash cycle that leaves you hungry again an hour later. Chia also brings omega-3 fats and fiber, both of which help calm the low-grade inflammation that drives insulin resistance underneath the surface. Use 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, stir it into Greek yogurt, blend it into a smoothie, or let it sit in water with a squeeze of lemon for 10 minutes before drinking it. Just make sure you are also drinking enough water through the day because fiber needs fluid to move well through the gut. Number 3 is lentils. And this one proves the point of this entire video. Lentils are a carbohydrate and they can still help lower blood sugar. Why? Because not all carbs behave the same way. Lentils come packed with fiber, resistant starch, and plant protein. That combination slows the release of glucose into the bloodstream so the rise is steady and controlled instead of sharp and chaotic. They also keep you full, which makes you far less likely to go hunting for bread, crackers, or sweets an hour later. Lentils are one of the easiest swaps I recommend because they are cheap, filling, and easy to build meals around. If somebody replaces white rice, white pasta, or white potatoes with lentils a few times a week, it is very common to see better readings across the day and sometimes even better fasting numbers over time. A good target is half a cup to 1 cup cooked. Put them in soup, stew, curry, or a cold salad with olive oil and lemon. They do not need to be fancy. They just need to show up on the plate consistently. Number 4 is eggs. Whole eggs, yolk included. For years, people were taught to fear eggs and then ended up replacing them with cereal, toast, granola bars, and sugary breakfasts that were far worse for blood sugar. A whole egg gives you protein and fat with almost no carbohydrate, which means it barely moves your blood sugar on its own. But what makes eggs so powerful is what they do to the rest of your day. When you start the morning with a protein-based breakfast instead of a high-carb breakfast, you often get a steadier response not just at breakfast, but at lunch too. You walk into the second meal of the day with calmer glucose and less hunger. That is why eggs are one of the fastest breakfast swaps for someone whose morning numbers are running high or who crashes by 10 a.m. and starts reaching for snacks. 2 or 3 whole eggs in the morning is a strong place to start. Scramble them, boil them ahead for the week, or pair them with spinach and avocado. The goal is not perfection. The goal is starting the day without pouring sugar straight into a stressed system. Number 5 is avocado. Most people look at avocado and only see calories. I want you to see blood sugar control. Avocado is rich in fiber and monounsaturated fat, and that combination slows the whole meal down. If you put half an avocado next to toast, rice, or even fruit, you are changing the speed at which that carbohydrate gets digested. The glucose enters the blood more gradually, insulin rises more gently, and you stay full longer. Over time, the healthy fats in foods like avocado also support better insulin sensitivity, which means your cells answer insulin more efficiently. Half an avocado a day is enough to matter. Add it to eggs, mash it onto whole grain toast, slice it into a salad, or put it next to a lunch that already contains carbs. Anywhere you have carbohydrate, avocado can soften the blow. Number 6 is Greek yogurt. Now, I am talking about plain Greek yogurt, not the dessert disguised as yogurt that is loaded with added sugar. Plain Greek yogurt gives you protein, a slower effect on blood sugar than sweet breakfast foods, and in many cases it is a much better choice than cereal, muffins, flavored oatmeal, or sweetened smoothies. The protein helps slow digestion and supports a steadier glucose response. And for a lot of people, Greek yogurt is an easy way to get a satisfying breakfast or snack without touching off a giant sugar spike. The trick is what you pair it with. If you buy plain Greek yogurt and add a handful of berries, some chia seeds, and maybe a few walnuts, you have built a blood sugar-friendly meal. If you buy the fruit on the bottom version loaded with syrup, you have undone the whole point. Aim for one serving, around 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup. Read the label. You want high protein and as little added sugar as possible. Number 7 is walnuts. Of all the nuts, walnuts are one of my favorites for blood sugar because they do several jobs at once. They bring healthy fats, a little protein, fiber, and plant omega-3s. That combination helps flatten the curve after a meal and helps control hunger between meals. And hunger control matters more than most people realize. Sometimes what wrecks blood sugar is not lunch or dinner. It is the random processed snack that shows up between meals because the earlier meal did not satisfy you. Walnuts are a simple fix for that. Instead of crackers, chips, or cookies, a small handful of walnuts gives you something your body can actually use without launching your glucose upward. A serving is about 1/4 cup. Keep them raw or dry roasted, not sugar-coated. And use them as a replacement for a processed snack, not as an extra add-on after one. Number 8 is fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. These are not just heart foods, they are blood sugar foods too. A huge part of insulin resistance is chronic inflammation. When inflammation stays high for years, it interferes with the insulin signal at the cell surface. The message does not get through cleanly. Fatty fish is rich in omega-3 fats, especially EPA and DHA, and these help calm that inflammatory background noise. That matters because blood sugar is not just about what happens in the gut. It is also about how responsive the cells are when insulin arrives. People often focus only on carbs and forget that improving insulin sensitivity is just as important as reducing spikes. Fatty fish helps on that deeper level. Try to get it in at least twice a week. A serving about the size of your palm is a good benchmark. Fresh, frozen, or canned can all work. In fact, sardines and canned salmon are often some of the cheapest and most powerful foods in the whole grocery store. Number 9 is cinnamon, but the kind matters. Most people buy whatever cinnamon is sitting on the shelf and never think about it again. If you are using it regularly, I prefer Ceylon cinnamon over cassia cinnamon. Ceylon is the gentler option for daily use. What makes cinnamon interesting is that certain compounds in it appear to support insulin sensitivity and help improve the way the body handles glucose. It is not magic, and it is not a substitute for fixing the rest of the meal, but it is a very easy tool to use because most people already enjoy it. The best time to use it is with meals that contain carbohydrates. Stir a quarter to half a teaspoon into oatmeal, plain yogurt, coffee, or a smoothie. Think of it as support, not as a rescue mission for a bad diet. It works best when it is helping an already smarter meal. And number 10 is berries. This surprises people because they hear the word fruit and assume fruit equals sugar and sugar equals bad. But berries are different from fruit juice, candy, pastries, and the giant processed carb loads that usually cause the real problems. Berries bring fiber, antioxidants, and a slower glucose response than many other sweet foods. They can satisfy the craving for something sweet without hitting the bloodstream the same way cookies, cake, or sweetened cereal do. And for a lot of people, one of the biggest breakthroughs is realizing they do not need to white-knuckle sugar cravings all day. They just need a better sweet option that does not punish their blood sugar afterward. A half cup to 1 cup of berries is a smart amount. Pair them with protein and fat like plain Greek yogurt, chia, or walnuts, and now you have a dessert or snack that actually works with your metabolism instead of against it. Now step back and look at what these foods are doing. The vinegar slows the meal down and helps muscles use glucose better. The chia and lentils wrap carbohydrates in fiber and slow their release. The eggs, avocado, yogurt, and walnuts turn a shaky meal into a stable one. The fish lowers inflammation. The cinnamon helps the body handle carbs more smoothly, and the berries give you a way to satisfy sweetness without triggering the same chaos. That is why these foods work better than simply trying to slash every carb in sight, because the real problem is not just the presence of carbohydrate, it is the speed, the context, the inflammation, and the insulin resistance underneath it all. Let me tell you about someone I will call Maria. She was 57, exhausted, and frustrated because her fasting blood sugar had been climbing even though she thought she was eating healthy. Breakfast was cereal or toast. Lunch was a sandwich and chips. By afternoon, she was shaky, hungry, and looking for something sweet. Her doctor had already warned her that if things kept trending up, medication would likely be the next step. We did not starve her. We did not tell her she could never touch a carb again. We changed the structure of what she was eating. Eggs and avocado replaced the cereal in the morning. Greek yogurt with chia and berries became her afternoon snack instead of crackers. Lentils showed up twice a week instead of white rice. She started taking diluted apple cider vinegar before her heavier carb meals. Walnuts replaced the vending machine snack, and fatty fish started showing up on the menu a couple of nights a week. Within days, her post-meal numbers were calmer. Within a few weeks, her cravings were down, and over time, her fasting numbers started moving in the right direction too. Not because she found some magic supplement, because she finally gave her body food that helped insulin do its job. So let me tie this all together. If you want lower blood sugar fast, think less about punishment and more about strategy. You do not need to build every meal around fear. You need meals that slow the glucose down, keep insulin from overreacting, and help your cells hear insulin signal more clearly. That is how you make the numbers come down in a way that lasts. Now I need to give you one important warning. If you are on insulin, sulfonylureas, or any medication that can drive blood sugar low, these foods can improve your numbers fast enough that your dose may need to be adjusted. So do not use this video as a reason to stop medication on your own. Use it as a reason to start eating smarter and let your doctor help guide the process safely. So here is your simple plan starting today. First, tomorrow morning, replace cereal, pastries, or toast by itself with 2 or 3 eggs and half an avocado. Second, before your biggest carb-heavy meal, take 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a full glass of water about 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. Third, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds to either plain Greek yogurt or water with lemon. Fourth, this week, swap white rice or pasta for lentils at least twice. And fifth, keep walnuts, berries, and plain Greek yogurt in the house so when hunger hits, you have a blood sugar-friendly option ready before the craving chooses for you. Do that for the next 7 days and watch what happens to your readings. Because for many people, blood sugar starts improving the moment they stop feeding the spike and start feeding the system that controls it. And if your strangest reading is the one that happens first thing in the morning, when you wake up and your sugar is somehow high even though you have not eaten all night, that is a completely different problem. Your liver may be pushing out sugar while you sleep, and most people never get told why that happens. I will cover that in the next video.